Hey guys, welcome to Redneck Off the Range. I'm sure most of you know by now that we just recently got a Branson tractor out on the farm, and when we bought that Branson tractor, we did not get it with loaded rear tires. The reason you want loaded rear tires is for stability when on hills. It makes it a little less tippy because the weight you have more weight down low, and it also helps with counterbalance. Gives you a little more weight in the back of the tractor for loader work. I didn't get it with fluid in the tires for two reasons. One, we were on a budget and we were already going over budget with just the tractor and the box blade. So we decided to do fluid later. And two, I just kind of wanted to learn how to do it myself and learn a new skill in case I had to do it again in the future. So that's why we didn't get it with fluid in the tires to begin with. So I'm going to be filling it with washer fluid. I'm slowly acquiring washer fluid. I got like 16 gallons right now, so I need like 60 more or something like that. But the method I was going to use with filling the tires was to build one of these manifolds that I've seen in several other YouTube videos. Now I think it actually originated from a channel called Dave Knows How, but I first learned about it on a channel called DIY My Way. If you've never heard of either one of these channels, go check them out. They are both really good tractor channels, so you can learn stuff a hell of a lot better than you can learn it from me because I'm pretty new at this. But I decided to just show off all the different components that it takes to build one of these manifolds because not everybody shows off all the different components, and of course there's several different ways you can configure this. This is just the way that I chose. So first you'll need some 3/4 inch PVC pipe, which I conveniently forgot to bring out to the farm, but I do have a little of 3/4 inch pipe left over from another project, so I'm going to bring that out here next time. But so you get yourself some 3/4 inch PVC pipe. You need two valves. Now you can do these PVC ball valves like I went with, or you can get some hose valves depending on how you want to configure it. I've seen them done both ways. But basically you want a valve so you can pump in one side, and then when the pressure gets too high, which is what the pressure gauge over here is for, when the pressure gets too high, you don't want to go above like 20 psi, then you shut this side off and then you relieve the pressure with the other side, and so whatever air and fluid comes out when you release the pressure, and then you just put it back into your bucket or your barrel or whatever you're using to suck the fluid out of, and you just keep doing that until the tire's full. So you're going to want two valves, whether they're these ball valves or some kind of a brass hose valve. You're going to want to have three of these garden hose adapters, garden hose to 3/4 inch PVC adapters, so you can attach your hoses. You're going to want some T's because obviously it's got to go two different directions. So I have a T here on this side for the pressure gauge, and I just got one of these cheap pressure gauges from Lowe's. I'm sure it'll work just fine. You want a 3/4 inch T, and then you're going to want one of these adapters to go into this. I believe this is 1/2 inch thread. I couldn't find anything that was 1/4 inch thread, so what I did was I just got one of these brass adapters, and I'm going to thread it in here. Of course, you'll need some Teflon tape, and then you just thread your gauge into that. So that should work just fine. You want two 90s, and of course you want another T up here at the top where your water or your fluid is going to go into the tire, and this is a little air to water adapter, so it's basically a hose end, and then it goes into like a valve stem configuration, so you can put that on, you'll hang it from your valve stem at the top, and then all this is going to hang down off of that, and you're going to have a hose running from your pump to the manifold, and you're going to have a hose running from the manifold to the bucket that you're pulling fluid from. So anyway, those are all the components that you need to put one of these manifolds together. So next scene or next shot, I'm going to show you what it looks like all put together. Alright, there it is, all hooked up. We have the pressure gauge there. It goes up into the tire valve stem there. You have your hose going in and your hose going out. And it's connected to this pump. It's a pool cover pump, so it gets submerged. And this other hose here is going to go back into the bucket for the pressure relief. So hopefully this thing doesn't leak. So she's running right now, and she's still just over 10 psi, so I won't let it get too high, and then I'll relieve the pressure, and then we'll fill it up again. It does kind of suck it out just as fast as I can pour it in, so we're gonna relieve some pressure now. Go. Alright, we're down to the last few gallons now. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work once it gets to the end, because once you relieve all that pressure that you just put in, I'm not sure how much fluid, if any, once it's all the way in there, will come shooting back out into this bucket. Hopefully not a lot, but I mean there will be 38 gallons worth of fluid in this tire, so I'm sure if it spits out just a little, it's going to be fine. In the end, there will be 76 gallons of fluid between both tires, which ends up being about 575 pounds of weight. To give you a lower center of gravity and give you some ballast for your loader and all that. So all good things that come from filling your tires with fluid. So this is just the first tire, and then so we got to go to the other side. But of course, before we do that, before we finish, after we fill it with fluid, we got to hook up the compressor and just fill the last little bit with air. And it's supposed to be like 28 psi for the rear tires. So it fills it up to about where the top of the rim goes, and then you just fill the rest of it up with air to get your tire pressure. So far so good. In the beginning, the connection up to the valve stem, I couldn't get that super tight. Had to get some tools out because one connection turns one way, the other turns the other way, and it's not a quick disconnect for whatever reason. I feel like they could have done something to make it a quick disconnect. I guess I could have made it a quick disconnect on the bottom half anyway. But when I first plugged in the pump, it started leaking out there, but once I got it all tightened up, it hasn't leaked anywhere else, so that's good. So yeah, so far so good. I like this setup, and it actually is pretty easy. It's just a little time consuming when you have to keep filling the bucket and stopping and relieving the pressure. So it's not really a quick process, especially on bigger tires like this, but it works well. And this is obviously something you can do yourself. You don't have to pay somebody else to do it, although I don't think it typically costs all that much, but I didn't do it because of the cost savings really. I more did it just to learn a new skill. And if I puncture a tire or something, or break off a valve stem and I lose all my fluid, I can always come back with the same tools that I filled it with the first time and do it again because I already know how to do it. So that's the main reason why I wanted to do it myself. So you wind up with just a little bit of fluid left, so not too bad. All right, so that's one tire down and one to go. I'm not gonna show anything on the other side just because I've already shown it on this side. It's the same process. One thing I forgot to mention was obviously you got to take the core out of the valve stem, and obviously you have to lift the tractor up off the ground, jack it up, and set it to where the tire is just off the ground, and obviously make sure your valve stem is at the top because the fluid's going to go to about here. So, but other than that, I think I've shown the whole rest of the process and how I put together the manifold. So yeah, that's about it. So subscribe to my channel. Until next time, be safe.